Hi, I'm Snorpixel, and today I'll be coloring Wolverine while giving you 5 tips when buying art supplies as a beginner. Art supplies and buying art supplies is a big thing in of itself, especially if you are just starting out. I love the work of creators on Instagram like Levitzo and Darren McCalvert with their amazing Copic marker skills, as well as watercolor artists like Maria Tiurina and Justin Gerard. Their work inspired me so much that I simply had to get my hands on similar supplies and dive right into the deep end, trying to replicate their skills. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work like that. What ended up happening to me was that I bought some of the nice and expensive stuff like Copic markers randomly, and one set of nice watercolors, but not enough to really be able to use them in a broader sense. I also didn't really know what did I like specifically. Did I really only like Copic markers, or did I only like watercolors, or did I like oils? I was a bit confused. My knowledge of color theory wasn't as good then as it is now, so I didn't necessarily buy the right colors or shades to allow me to get as broad use as possible from these expensive products. So I had a choice. Either I continue down this path of only buying some of the expensive products like Copic markers every once in a while, hoping I can fill out my collection to something more useful in time, or rather just leave those expensive things aside for now and invest in a wide range of cheaper options. I ended up going with the more expensive route, trying to fill out my collection as I went. It took a long time, especially as I had to learn more about the art fundamentals such as color and composition before I could really use these items. It cost a lot and took a lot of effort to get somewhere where I actually could have been already if I had just gone with the cheaper stuff. So, what should you do? Here are those 5 tips I talked about. Start with the basics. As a beginner, you should focus on buying the essential supplies needed for your art form. For example, if you're starting with painting, invest in a few quality brushes, a palette, a set of paints, and a canvas. As you become more experienced, you can add more advanced supplies to your collection. Do your research. Before buying any supplies, research the different options available and read reviews. This will help you choose the best quality supplies within your budget. What tools are your favorite artists using? Are there similar but cheaper options available? These are questions you can ask yourself when doing your research. Consider your budget. Art supplies can be expensive, so it's important to set a budget before you start shopping and stick to it. Determine how much you're willing to spend and prioritize the supplies that you need the most. Experiment with different brands. Once you've found your preferred supplies, try experimenting with different brands to see if there are any that work better for you or that could be cheaper in the long run. Different brands can have different qualities such as color vibrancy, texture, and durability. Don't forget about storage. Art supplies can take up a lot of space, so it's important to consider storage when you're buying them. Make sure you have a place to store your supplies where they won't get damaged or lost. Also, consider investing in storage solutions like shelves or drawers to keep your supplies organized and easily accessible. Because when that blank canvas hits you in the face, you don't want to be fiddling around for extra pens or paints. You just want to get going. These tips may seem basic, but they will help you approach your art journey in a way that is manageable and effective. There are a few honourable mentions I'd like to add to the list regarding art supplies. Choose your medium to invest in. After you've played around and experimented with many different mediums, doing still lifes and studies, choose one of the mediums you like the most and invest in it. For instance, I really like Copics and how they look and feel, so even though it took me a while to collect a few, I'm very glad with this medium. Join an art class. This is a great way to test out or borrow new equipment and mediums quickly. I never even knew what an easel was before I did this, and I also used charcoal as a drawing material for the first time during one of these sessions. If you don't have the money for art classes, call up a few friends, preferably those who are artistically inclined, and start art nights. You can all meet up once a week and experiment with different mediums while having fun and spending time together. Watch out for marketing tricks. I fell for a few of these quick tutorials a few years ago. I still do now and then. I was really interested in watercolors at that time, and somehow a watercolor online class popped into my feed. Yes, it was a great online class, but I didn't actually need it at the time. What I needed was more time to mess around with the medium and get comfortable on my own before utilizing a specific tutorial made by someone who had been using watercolors for many years and had figured out one specific niche method to teach others. Make a list of all your art equipment. This might sound more left brain than right brain, but trust me, this will help a lot in checking yourself a few months or years down the line. Start a Google Doc and start cataloging all your art equipment, as well as the cost of each item if you have it on hand or can remember it. Also add the date purchased. After a while, you will have a quantifiable list of art supplies that you can track and maintain. This will help with budgeting as well as preventing accidentally purchasing the same thing twice, or even more times than that. Sell old stuff. I have 2 sets of acrylic and oil paints that I've barely touched since purchasing them almost 4 years ago. Instead of them rotting away in my cupboard, they could actually benefit someone less fortunate or spark an art career somewhere. This is where the Google Doc list with your art supplies will come in handy. Scan through this list every once in a while, maybe every time you buy some new art equipment, and take a look at what items weren't used in 1 year. If you haven't used them in 1 year, either sell them or donate them. Don't force yourself to use a medium you don't like. I tried to like charcoal, oils and acrylics, but they felt tedious and too complicated. Maybe I was just too lazy for these intricate art mediums, but I decided to call it quits with them and stick to digital watercolors and Copics. Since I made this decision, I have made massive strides in my art. Don't get me wrong, you have to experiment with different art mediums. It is great for learning what's out there and what you do and don't like. But you don't have to go and buy everything before you even painted one canvas. That's where the art classes or clubs are great. You can test out mediums before committing to them financially. This whole subject of art supplies is based upon my own experience, and it is by all means not the perfect solution for every artist out there. I just wish someone had told me this stuff before I dove head first, or rather wallet first, into the large world that is art supplies. Overall, I think it's best to start with a few essential supplies and gradually build up your collection as you become more knowledgeable in your craft. This will save you money, space, and prevent you from feeling overwhelmed. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. And if you like the art that I made, you can be a part of this as well by joining my Patreon page, which will be in the link below the video. Each month, my patrons get to vote on the topic of the sketch card that will be drawn for that month. And this month was Wolverine, as you can see. Along with this, there's a whole bunch of other things to do and to see on my Patreon page. Thanks for sticking around. Bye.